beast got jungle fever. Don't smoke, but a breakdown. The Chiba, the Chiba. Feel my senorita, you should be her. Buenos dias, clean up, clean cut. Bitch impressed with stock beamers. I won't properly dual citizen with the visa. My niggas Ninja Turtles, call me Tracy Sensei. I can mold me a nigga, get out.
What's up with it? This is your ghost with the most, Bella Martrees, coming in live from Edge Studio. Say hi, Paul. We got Paul here.
Hi, Miss Bella.
How are you doing today?
Very well.
We have a long night tonight.
We do. We're working overtime.
Absolutely. And we definitely got somebody dope up in the building. We have author, father, community leader, artist, Bay Area historian, and podcaster. We got Kiu The Voice. What's happening?
Hey, family. Thank y'all for having me, man. I really appreciate you guys inviting me to come chop some game tonight, man. I'm truly humbled. I thank you guys.
How you doing tonight, big baby?
I'm pretty good. I can't complain. You dig what I'm saying? You know what I mean? One day at a time, you know what I mean? Take care of these kids and try to keep getting better every day. You know what I'm saying? Just put some positive into the atmosphere. Hopefully you come back to me.
No, absolutely. I notice every time I see your posts, they're always so inspirational, and I really appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? You're a San Francisco native like myself. And you really put on for the Bay Area, especially San Francisco. Like, you tell a lot of history. I find myself laughing. I find myself, you know what I'm saying, be provoked with emotions also. Like, you drop a lot of gems and a lot of positivity. What made you start, getting online and doing that?
You know what? I think with MySpace and Facebook, different eras, and just being social, and I had moved away from the city. So it was kind of, in the beginning, my way to stay connected with my family and stuff when I first moved, you know what I mean? So to stay active with them to see what they had going on, and also to, just check in. But I found myself always wanting to share our culture with people when I went different places, no matter if I lived in Nashville, Tennessee, if I lived in Southern California, if I was in Texas, you know what I mean? I always was introducing people to our culture by way of our music, our lingo, whatever it was. So I always, felt like honored to tell our story, you know what I mean? And to tell people, you know what I mean, where we come from, because sometimes a story could get overlooked because we have big places like Los Angeles and Oakland and different stuff, and people just look at the city as kind of like a place to go shopping or a place for tourists go, for a long time. But, we have a lot of culture, a lot of things that we have brought to not only Bay Area culture, but California culture. So, I always try to highlight that and bring it to other people as much as I can.
That's good, because I know when I've traveled, especially growing up, and they'd be like, where you from? I'd be like, San Francisco. And they'd be like, oh, it's just gays there. And I'd be like, what? And I would literally be like, no, like, yeah, we have a bunch of different cultures. So I feel like even within that, like being able to travel and stuff like that, I've always had to tell people about the city, the Black culture, the jazz, the, the hoods, gentrification. I mean, and I think that's hella dope that you still doing that. And I felt propelled to reach out to you. So thank you for taking the time out. But what does KIU stand for?
So KIU is short for Keep It Up. So KIU is the name of my clothing brand. Mm-hmm. Another acronym for it is Knowledge, Insight, and Understanding. So I started my clothing brand, I do about 8 years ago now, you know what I mean? And it started from back when I was younger. I got my first apartment, and there was a lot of stuff going on in the streets with my friends. So my apartment kind of became a safe haven for all my partners, even if some people was on different sides of the equation. They might not get along with each other when they walk outside the doors of the KIU, which everybody called my apartment at the time. So it was just something that we kind of, jokingly named place where I lived at the time, my apartment, and all my partners would come sleep there, chill, whatever. So it just kind of evolved into Knowledge, Insight, and Understanding, the clothing brand, you know what I mean, and just the brand of podcasts and just everything else that you see now, you know what I mean? It just kind of took on a life of its own, but it had roots in the community and with a brotherhood and things like that. So KIU is Keep It Up. knowledge, insight, and understanding. I always just say KI at the end of my videos, which is short for keep it. So people might say, hey, that's KI right there, but they call me voice, you know what I mean? So knowledge, insight, understanding, or keep it up.
Would you mind like giving like a little bit of the background, like growing up in the city, like things you've experienced that, you know, may have propelled you to want to tell your story and to inspire that positivity?
Yeah, I was raised in a single parent home. You know what I mean? Like everybody that most people that I grew up with in the city of San Francisco, I spent like half and half time in Lakeview, Hunters Point. You know what I mean? My mother lived in Bayview, Hunters Point, on Third Street, all my younger years. So, and then my grandmother lived in Lakeview. So, a lot of my friends too was raised by our grandparents.
Mm.
So, um, everything when our age group came along, our grandparents were busy taking care of multiple generations in the houses,
For real.
trying to keep the family together. You know what I'm saying? And our older cousins was there, our older siblings was there. Not only just our generation, so it was really hard for them to keep an eye on us and make sure that we were doing everything that we were supposed to. They gave us a good opportunities, and they made sure we was eating and all that stuff like they were supposed to. But the supervision wasn't always there. So with that, you get to see a lot of stuff. And the city is a fast place. Anybody who doesn't know, as far as like everything, hustling and street life and just everything is fast and it's moving fast. So if you're paying attention, you learn it fast. If you're not paying attention, then you can get hurt fast or lose fast. You know what I mean? So I've seen a lot of my friends die in the streets of San Francisco. I mean, with the wrong people to follow, the wrong things that we thought was important. You know what I mean? And I think back to them dying at 21s and 20s and the ages they passed away, and it didn't have no meaning to it. So I can't bring those people back. So a lot of times when people hear me telling stories on my Instagrams or my YouTubes, I'm telling the stories of my friends that passed away and how they lost their lives, or the disagreements that led to them, or, you know what I mean, whatever it was, but just in a different context, you know what I mean? So, it's me telling their stories and trying to tell them in a prevention type of way, you know what I mean, without necessarily saying this name or that name or this situation or that situation, you know what I mean? So those are part of the things, my partners that I lost along the way. Minute things that they lost their lives for is most of the motivation for life.
You was breaking up a little bit. What was the last thing you said?
I'm sorry. I was just saying, a lot of my friends that lost their lives, you know what I mean, that didn't make it to see today, and the things that they lost their lives for is one of the reasons why I want to tell my story, so people don't make the same mistakes if they don't have to. And so my friends don't die in vain.
Right, and I think you do a really good job as far as getting that word out there. And I wish when I was growing up, because I grew up with a similar background, grandmother raising us, and we didn't have no damn supervision. That's why I was in Lakeview all the time.
Right.
So, boy, I used to
right.
be ripping and running. So, you know, but you're doing a really good job. And I wish that at that time that there was somebody like you. You like the internet's uncle. You know what I'm saying? Like you, and I feel like you're very approachable, and the way you deliver your message is so effective,
Thank you.
and it brings me down a lot of memory lanes, like good positive experience or even traumatic experiences. Or there's been times you
Right.
have said something and it inspired me to talk to my daughter about those things. And I want to just say, like, I really, really appreciate that, because that's a part of leadership in our community. And I feel like that's also prevention. Like, I feel like somebody could listen to one of your videos, especially you be doing them early in the morning too. They get a hold
Yeah.
of, they get a dose of one of them videos, boy, that might just change the scope of somebody's day and the way that they thinking. So I think that's very
Yeah.
much so, like, our community needs a lot of healing and a lot of positivity, because we all been through a lot of similar situations. So you say your grandmother raised you alongside your mother. And how do you feel as Like as far as like, you know, you're self-identified Bay Area historian, you feel me?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
how does that feel to hold that type of title? Like, what responsibilities do you feel like you have with that title?
No, that's a great question because being that I share a lot of history and being that I talk about a lot of stuff that happened in the Bay Area, I have learned that you got to be precise. You know what I mean? Because there's been times where I've said stuff that, you know what I mean, I didn't trip off that, you know, people gonna be on me about it. Like, hey, bro, you know what I mean? Make sure you tell it all the way right, all the way accurate. So people gonna hold you accountable. One thing that I've learned about that, you know what I mean? But I take pride in the fact that, like I said, like we talked about off camera, like I was privileged enough to be in the presence of Cool Nut and a lot of these artists from our era or from before my era, way before my time, because Cool Nut was way older than me, and Baldhead Ricks, and you know what I mean? And they, you said, what'd you say?
No, I was just, go ahead, keep going.
But yeah, and so, you know, with that, with my big cousins and Cool Nut and those guys being in my grandmother's house as I'm growing up, and I'm a kid, that gave me access to a lot of these different things early on. So the average person probably gets to get their history, you know what I mean, when they start hanging outside with their friends. I got to get it, you know, hang with my big cousins and uncles, and you know what I mean? So a lot of the stuff that I got to see firsthand that people be like, man, you remember that, or how you know about that, and different stuff. It was because, like I said, the supervision wasn't there. So I was with my big cousins outside in the city of San Francisco and at the lake in Oakland. And, you know, my mom was there a lot too. So I don't want to make it seem like that because my mother was the bomb. You know what I mean? She was the queen. So she would take me and make sure I had a lot of culture. You know what I mean? Things that I didn't even know that I wanted to experience, from food to, you know, Oakland culture and her friends and different parts of the Bay Area and going hiking and riding bike, just different stuff. You know what I mean? Since I was young. So I take a lot of pride in it, but also I know it's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. You can't just be out here freestyling. You know what I mean? You got to make sure you're telling it like it is, you know what I mean, as much as possible.
When did you start doing podcasting?
So I started the podcast journey maybe it's been like a year ago. So last year, I think I started, and I started my YouTube channel probably 2 years ago. And I was just doing some of the, some throwback videos and YouTube videos about You Wasn't There, Big Baby. Then I started to do the KIU Conversations, which is me talking to different people, artists, people who've been through traumatic stuff, entrepreneurs, you know, just all type of people that I think have a story to tell, basically. So I started doing that a year ago. I probably did maybe 15 or 16 episodes last year, something like that. You know what I mean? I also had surgery, so that kind of slowed me up. But yeah, I started doing that last year. So that's been an interesting journey. I love talking, as you can see. But I love having meaningful conversations like such as this.
Yeah, for sure. I think that these type of conversations are essential because, you know, we are creating history. You know what I'm saying? We modern day historians, so therefore our voices matter. And that's why I like your, you know what I'm saying, your name, The Voice. You know what I'm saying? It's an indefinite, you know, self-empowering. You know what I'm saying? That's dope.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So what's been your most memorable podcast or experience online? Because you post a lot of content.
You know what? I've had a few videos, you know, go viral, I guess you would say. The biggest one I had was one where I was talking to the young dudes about not knowing what they was getting themselves into as far as politics in their neighborhoods, not knowing that they big homies wasn't solid. It was something to that. It was kind of to that nature, you know what I mean? Yeah. And for whatever reason, that video kind of like caught on like wildfire. That's been about a couple of years ago, and it got, you know, a lot of coverage, and a lot of people reposted, a lot of big people, you know what I mean? Wallows, E40s, whoever, you know what I mean? But a lot of people that I appreciate the feedback, and people, not only did they repost it, but a lot of those people reached out to me, you know what I mean? They hit me and extended themselves to me and gave me their numbers and was like, you know, if I need anything, just different stuff like that. So that video was probably pretty powerful, but I've had some great KIU conversations with people that have very inspiring stories. one of my friends is a bodyguard for Cardi B, and he was telling the story about how he got the job and was, it was all by faith, and you know what I mean? And he was a police officer in Atlanta, so that was a pretty deep story that I didn't even know about when I interviewed him. So that's one. There's a lot of them, you know what I mean? But it's just a privilege that people feel comfortable enough with me and honored enough to sit down and tell their story. I appreciate that more than anything.
Yeah, I appreciate listening to you. You had one of my brothers on there, and I was just like I've been watching you, and I was like, damn, that's hella dope. And another question I want to ask you is like, what would you like to see happen with your podcast? Because I feel like the responsibility of being in the media, like you gotta think like there's a lot of bitch ass niggas, like for real, and they be sitting out there pumping a lot of poison. They misleading the youth. They're doing, even the broads. You know what I'm saying? And
Sure.
And we have a lot of healing to do in our community, and I like the way you go about it. Like I feel like you got a good balance. But where would you like to see this go? Like with this, like where you want to take this?
I want to take it to the stars. You know what I mean? I want to be able to give these my young people, my people, just a organic voice.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Right now, we so caught up on the flash and the different things, which I understand that this is what we've been positioned to see and to like and to love for so long. It's hard to get the attention of our young people, of our people, period, if you're not, necessarily dressed a certain way or look a certain way or have a certain aesthetic. So
right.
I want them to know that it's nothing wrong with being organic. It's nothing wrong with being quote unquote still or regular. You know what I mean? It's like everybody is not going to be a billionaire, but that don't mean that everybody's not going to live an awesome life. You know what I mean? Like it's, people don't understand there's so much in between the extremes that people promote to us every day. You know what I mean? And it's just like if people try to make our young people feel like if they're not this extreme, then they're not nothing, and that's not it. You know what I mean? But we got to get our identity back somehow, some way. As far as like what you're doing and what I'm doing is bringing pride back into our city and letting it be known that we have culture. You know what I mean? I think that's imperative that our young people know. And people of our age, like a lot of us don't even know how much culture our city holds and how much history it holds for our people and how much we have brought to California, the Bay Area, and all that different stuff. I'm just learning right now. I'm working on my new book. It's called The Midnight League. And I've just been doing a whole bunch of research about Black contributions to the city of San Francisco. Because I was having a conversation with my wife, and she was like, we don't really have no culture in San Francisco. And I know she didn't mean it like that, but in a way, like, we don't have a culture that is promoted. You know what I mean? It was like just a couple of things that people know about San Francisco Black history, but we have such a deep history, you know what I mean? So, just things like that I think we got to try to promote. And I want it to be known that our city is beautiful and amazing, and so is our people. You know what I'm saying? Even with the little bit of us that's left here.
Right. Yeah, we've faced a lot of challenges. I know. Well, I do want to touch on that. You're an author, so you're working on your third book, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so your first book it's on the screen, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yep.
so is that your first book?
Yeah. So okay. I recently became, I don't even, like saying an author is beautiful, and I am an author, I am a published author, you know what I mean, Amazon self-published, but it's hard for me to even say it, you know what I mean, but A Way with Words is a collection of quotes that I put together. It was during the pandemic or right before the pandemic, you know what I mean, I was just going through a lot, and I just started writing down these quotes, and it started from Facebook. I would come up with a quote of the day, or I would go through something, and however I processed that problem or that challenge in the day, I would put it in a quote on Facebook. And I would get so many people saying, hey, where you get this quote from? Or who wrote that quote? And I would get that so much. And I was like, you know what? Let me just start writing these down. Mm-hmm. And eventually that led to me collecting them. And then I just put these together, and that turned into what you see right here, the first book, and that's A Way with Words, which is a collection of quotes. Motivational quotes, 365. You can read one every day, or you can read the book at once. They are all from a real deep place, you know what I mean? And yeah, that was my first book right there. That was my introduction to being an author, you know what I mean?
How was that experience?
You know what? I think just showing myself, like I knew I could do it, but shout out to my partner Mo, because she's the one I saw her write. I saw her publish a book. So when I saw her do it, that's another thing. Let me say this. People get motivated by the people they see around them. And if it's positive stuff, then that can motivate you just as much as negative. My friend Mo, she wrote a book and I saw that she did it and it was so dope to me that I was like, you know what I mean? I want to do that too. You know what I mean? If my friend, you know, she could sit down and she could take the time out to do it, I want to do it too. So that's what got me to even think that I could start the process. You know what I mean? And then actually going through with it and setting out the time every day to write down the quotes and then put it into a book form and then actually publishing it. It was a very proud moment. I was very honored, you know what I mean, to be able to do it, to hand it to family members and, you know, my friends support me. It was it was a blessing. It was amazing.
I see you struggle with identifying as an author. That's funny because I feel like it, you know what I'm saying, to be working on your third book and to highlight, like, I like that you see a need for something and you fulfill that need with an action. Do you remember any of your quotes from the first book?
You know what? I can't even think of any of them. I can't even think of the quotes from any of my books off my head. I would even sit here and,
I mean, shit,
and fabricate the facts, you know?
Right, now that be the game sometime.
You know what I'm saying? Everyone, I have opened up my books and read quotes out of them since I published them, you know what I mean? But a lot of times, like, I don't know, with other art, you know, it's hard for me to even go back and read them because, like, you know, I'm new to writing, you know what I mean? I didn't have a editor or anything, so if I open a quote and see that I misspelled something or something wasn't edited right, I automatically get so critical of myself. So I think that's part of the part where I say, you know, I don't even, it's hard for me to call myself a writer. I haven't perfected the art of it.
But I think that's the beauty of it, and then too, coming from like where we came from, it's like we didn't have a lot of guidance with this. We didn't have a lot of funds with this. You know, like I published my first book when I was 18 with Poor Magazine, and was the book perfect? It was perfectly executed because that you couldn't have paid me to believe that I would be an author of a book. And I remember that it took a while for me to wear that uniform as an author to be like, nah, that's a part of my identity. And then too, when I published the second book, it was enchanting. But I'll say this last book that I published, The Poet's Promise to Be Dope, Volume 2, that's when it was really, really, really solidified. You know what I'm saying? Like, no, I'm a published author. But how has your perspective on writing evolved throughout those books?
In the beginning, I think for me, I think just completing something was a big part of it. You know what I mean? And I think in the raw essence of where it came from, like I said, it was kind of a tumultuous time for me. So in the raw essence of it, those quotes came from such a deep place. But also, once I had my mind set on publishing a book, that was like a big part of it. So like, you know, instead of taking whereas now, this last book that I'm working on, I want to take my time. I want to make sure I get all of these little things so that it's received even smoother, even better, and can go even wider. You know what I mean? So I think that the first time, for me, it was just like getting it complete, making sure I could actually do it was a big part of it. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, I know I could do it. So now it's all about getting the content and making sure the substance and everything is there like I really wanted to do.
What do you think has been the most rewarding aspect of publishing? Because I'm going to keep it 100. I remember when I first got I remember the night when I got my proofs back. You know, they came at night. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
So we just chilling in the house, and it was a little knock, and you know, the Amazon delivery driver skipped off, and I picked up the package, and I was like, ah! So I'm calling my folks. One of my partners, he came over. Oh my God. Never drink alcohol you ain't ever drank before. Because he bought some. I mean, I drank it before, but I didn't drink it. We got fucked up. I'm going to keep it 100. This nigga brought some sake. It was in a pretty bottle too. Oh man, don't ever play with that. But it was such a fun night, and I feel like that was dope. So for me, it's like getting that physical book, and like you said, it's like for me, it's been a community effort. Like shout out to Poor Magazine, even my homeboy Telly. Like this last book that I published was so intimate because. What's funny? Because when I was in the infancy of publishing it, I was at the studio with Telly Mac from the Gamblers. And, I dropped my verse, boom. That song, that nigga need to drop that song. That song hot. And there was another...
Shout out to Telly Mac, my guy.
Shout out to Telly Mac. And one of the other artists there, he was so happy about his goddamn book too. But he had it with him. So he was like, oh, this is my book. I'm like, that's your book? I'm like, let me buy the book. You feel me? And I'm like, I'm an author too. And I'm like, I'm working on my... So me and him bumbling, what is T-Maz? Dr. Harrison. You know what I'm talking about. He from the city too. So,
okay.
So I get his book. I'm like, sign it. And he like ordering my previous book. Boom.
Yeah.
And I was telling him about one of the issues I had because I had a lot of mistakes in my previous book. And you know what? He was just like, you know what? Don't do a whole new book. Just do volume 2. So I actually got that idea from being in the studio that day to just keep it volume 2 from T-Maz or whatever. And then my homeboy, interestingly enough, his name Telly Dante. He's from Oakland, and I was like, okay, I'm publishing a book. I want you to do this, do that. He didn't listen to nothing I said. So one day he just sent me the book cover, and it was so beautiful to me, and it was perfect. And he wrote my introduction, and I cried. Then I'm just chilling, and T-Maz sent me a video, and I'm like, and I opened up the video, and he put when he received my book in the mail, because he ordered it that day when we was at the studio with Telly Mac. And in his book, he put him getting the book in his music video. So my book was like this dope story, and it's like I got to see it unfold, and it was really a lot of community. Like I said, I published with the same organization that I've been with since I was a teenager, and I'm about to be 42. So like this is history. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like our stories are so important, and I think a lot of times, like one thing that people think that you just by yourself doing it. I know for me, like I got a whole tribe. Like I have a dope team of people that I work with. And the people I'm writing for is people like me. Like who is it that you're speaking to in your book?
Everyday people.
Okay, yeah.
Everyday people from all walks of life, because the experiences that I take these quotes from are not subjective to somebody who is rich, somebody who's poor. It's just anybody that's going through life. You know what I mean? I like to say that I've been studying people since I was a kid. You know what I mean? I know maybe everybody does, but I was a single child, so all I did was study people all the time. You know what I mean? I don't know if I was trying to figure out about myself, so I've always been in tune to people's emotions, people's feelings, you know what I mean, and how people interact. You know, so I take all of my quotes from direct interactions, and it could come from some of the hardest times in my life or other people's lives, you know what I mean? And so they all come from such a real place that I'm talking to all people, you know what I mean? Now, sometimes the language that I use or the wording could be identified.
Oh, no.
That's what I...
You know what? You was breaking up for the last, like, 10 seconds. You was breaking up. If you could repeat that.
I'm sorry, my phone started breaking up. Yeah, I like to think that, of course, how I speak is going to be receptive to people from inner cities, you know what I mean? Just because of how I was raised and where I came from. But most definitely is going to talk to anybody who goes through any type of real stuff in life. Because I feel like I've been through a multitude of real situations. Like the other people, we all going to have death in our life. We all going to have pain, you know what I mean? Ups and downs financially, you know, most of us, you know what I mean? And we all trying to figure it out. Relationships with our children, relationships with our spouses. All those things are not delegated or segregated to just one type of people. We all go through these things. So that's why I try to just speak stuff that's general, but personal at the same time.
All right. Okay. So, and
Can we have you move your phone back to the right just a little bit? Because no, like the other way. I'm sorry.
Okay. This way?
Yeah, there we go. I think that's where you. Okay, no, you were good. Go for it.
oh, okay, thank you. Okay, boom. So I know with me, I want to ask a question, but I also want to respond. Um, I'll say about writing a book. For me, I was going to ask you what is the most difficult part in writing a book. And I remember just reading over the shit I wrote, and I was like, God damn, like this is sad. And I noticed that when I'm reading when I'm going through all this writing, I'm emotionally attached to it because it's real. It's my true stories. This is things I've been through. These my friends that done got killed. These are emotions that I feel. This is being stuck. This is being, like a lot of it is painful. And I think that was the hardest part of it is reliving, you know what I'm saying? Like as I'm editing and as I'm sending it off to people and as I'm trying to choose, I'm like, God damn, this is triggering for me. And there was times where I didn't have healthy coping mechanisms. You know what I'm saying? I know this when I be writing, I'll be drinking like a motherfucker. You feel me? And I be emotional and I feel like I have to tap into a place. Like one thing that I did have this time that helped me was a more solid support system at home. Do you get what I'm saying? To where that really helped me. So for one, because you talk about a lot of heavy stuff. Like, how do you deal with navigating through that difficult and emotional part? And what is the most difficult part about being a podcaster, writer? You know what I'm saying? A historian, because like you said, people watching you. So, like, how do you navigate that?
That's a good question. I think first and foremost, telling the story is kind of sort of a therapist. So when I tell these stories that, like you said, that trigger memories to me, that can trigger not only real memories, but painful memories. And I see people that relate to them, or I see people resonate with them. Because a lot of that stuff, people they really be like, man, and that's for me, it gets to relive those moments in a positive manner. Because even though we lost a lot of people from our childhood and stuff like that, it was some great times that we had.
Right.
Like we really got to enjoy our young lives, in the midst of a lot of chaos. And I think that sometimes when you live with so much pain and so much survivor's remorse, you got to find a way for your mind to navigate, away from that so much. So that's why I try to, do it in a positive way so that, those memories of our friends is going to be, the ones when we was at Black Saturday, that's a good memory of them. And not just, you know what I mean? And not just the last memory, which is going to be when somebody called you when they got shot or killed or something, you know what I mean? Because that's the memory that's going to resonate with you. But if I bring up the time when we was laughing or, when we got into a car accident, but we got out the car or when you, pulled out a McDonald's drive-thru or something, it's going to be like, okay. And we need more positive, period. Like everything that gets promoted a lot of times has some type of negative stigma or, it's just some shallow shit. You know what I mean? And I ain't trying to be judgmental or nothing, because we need entertainment and all that, but it just be a lot of shit don't even be having no substance to it. Just be like, damn, so I don't know.
No, I feel you. I want to share one of your videos. I have it queued up right here. Cause they wasn't there, big baby.
Yeah.
I love that.
Here, big baby.
You wasn't there, big baby. Ah.
Yeah,
Let's see.
that's a long. That turned into something too.
Yeah, I like that. You gotta, and then too, you're gonna have to tell the people on how to get your how to copy your merch. You feel me?
For sure, for sure.
All right, let's see.
Yeah, let me give a shout out to all my partners too, because a lot of that stuff that I be saying and my logos and stuff, it just come from our lingo, from Lakeview, from the city, you know what I mean? And I just turned it into something, and I'm just the voice, for my boys and my people. So
That's what's up.
What you ask for, right? Be careful what you point out, what you recognize, and what you see. Be careful what you ask for. You know why? You don't know what come with that, big baby. You see the foreigns, you see me, you see Rolls Royces, and you see that but you don't know, man, all his brothers is dead. Every single one of his brothers is dead and gone. He can't put nobody in a Rolls Royce passenger seat. But that was the sacrifice that came with the lifestyle that he chose, you feel me? You think little baby bad, you like, damn, she thick, she got the whole BBL, the whole woo. Man, that broad is a headache, big baby. Her dude don't even want her, you understand me? He trying to figure out how to break up with her and get far away from her. Because all she do is cost some money and give him migraines, big baby. You understand me? You think dude is such a good catch. You like, damn. You take good care of her. She's staying the latest and the greatest. That cracks her upside the head like a pinata every chance he get, big baby. Is that what you want? Is that what you want? You understand me? Lumps and bruises, you understand me? To go along with that little Chanel purse, black your eye and wire your jaw, and then get you a bag right after? Be careful what you ask for. You don't know what come with that. You understand me? You don't know what's associated with that. You don't know what had been sacrificed to achieve that thing, that person, that place that you feel like, I want that, and don't even know what come with that, big baby. Be careful, okay? Be careful what you ask for.
Be careful what you ask for. I feel like that was such a powerful video, because I feel like a lot of times people look at what other people have or what they maintain. It's like you don't even know what sacrifice that comes with that. That was one of my favorite videos you've done. And what sparked that video? Like, what experience? Like, cause you was passionate, man. You was, boy. You look. You had to put your seatbelt on. You feel me? You was with it. Ah.
You know what? I'm a morning person, so a lot of my videos be full of energy because that's just how I wake up most of the time. I don't even know what exactly like was the thing that I might have seen over the last few days or whatever that sparked that. Because it'd be things, all type of different things that spark stuff in my mind. But I just know it's probably coming from a place of just knowing. I know people, you know what I mean? And a lot of times what people are projecting is just the most positive parts of experiences. You know what I mean? And it's just like, if you show the money from a bank robbery, right? After you get dressed and after you back at the house and after you got away, you know what I mean? And you show them bands and you got your chain on and everybody see that, they're like, man, I want his life. But if they know that you shot 2 security guards and got into a car accident and, ran into an innocent family on the way, somebody in that car died, and you know what I mean? All this stuff before you cleaned up and got that money sat right there what a person actually really wanted. You know what I mean? So a lot of times the things that we see with so much vanity and no precursor to it, no story to it, and you know what I mean? We just want that, and just like, man, you might not want it if you know what he was doing or she was doing to get that. You know what I mean? But all we see is the results, and that's all that people, project to us. You know what I mean? So it was probably just one of those days where I was just like, man, if you only knew what, and the people who project some of these things, you know what I mean? They don't care what, they just riding on ego or perception or whatever it is, you know what I mean? Are they trying to sell something? You know what I mean? But ain't nobody gonna tell you how hard it was to achieve something or what they had to do to get their hands dirty if they did, like very rarely. So that's just the place it probably came from.
What's something that you would want? I feel like San Francisco, like you said, is fast. Then we come from the dope era. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
A lot of us grew up being raised by our grandmothers, so we kind of pretty much did what we wanted to do. I know I didn't have much supervision after my mother was murdered. You know what I'm saying? I was running around, so I did see a
Mm,
lot. But I feel like the generation under us isn't equipped with the same skill set that we had. I feel like we was like young adults, like in
for
middle
sure.
school. You know what I'm saying? I be looking at the things that
Mhm.
the kids doing now. I'm thinking like, shit, like we was just cut different. Um, but I do have a lot of beautiful memories in San Francisco, and I grew up in the Lower Hay Fillmore Page Street area, so I've had a lot of diversity. I mean, we went through gentrification. Lakeview did too. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm. Mhm.
We a lot of us was pushed out, moved out, because of the rising prices, property taxes being exuberant, just you know what I'm saying, the cops, they had on them gang injunctions. I mean, we really was strategically moved out of the city. So but I want to talk about something good too. Like, what would be one of your good memories that you have that invokes happiness within you and that keeps you pushing?
Man, you know what? When I was a kid, my mother would force me to experience different things. So it wasn't a food or it wasn't something that I could say I didn't want to do until I experienced it. So, you know, I got to experience Fillmore. I got to
Mm-hmm.
experience Sunnydale. I got to experience the Trail Hill and, Hunters Point and all these different places in my city. You know what I mean? Hold on, let me juice. Bear with me. I'm running out of juice. Give me a second. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
And if
Well,
you
I
need
think the
to,
fact,
because the charge port's underneath, you can flip the camera too, or flip the phone.
oh, okay.
I can. I think so.
Oh,
As long as it
dang.
follows you, but it didn't follow you.
My,
Sorry.
uh,
No, it didn't follow you.
It's okay. I'm sorry about that.
No,
That's
you
all right.
fine.
We get it.
It's Ghetto Podcast. It's saying, you
You
feel
know
me?
what I'm
I mean,
saying? We in this thing. You feel me, big
you
baby? You
they
know what I'm
wasn't
saying? We just
there.
need some old juice. We all right with the camera? Y'all okay on that end? I'm making sure we still
Yeah, we
we
good.
good.
Yeah.
All right. We
And
gonna
not
keep this
ghetto as
thing
a
lit.
derogatory thing, but I feel like I think within, like, it's
Meaning
about
we
just
improvise,
innovating.
not ghetto,
You
not
feel
ghetto
me?
as in quality. This is a very professional setup. I want to thank y'all for having me. Like I said, this is amazing. You know what I mean? What you guys are doing and how you guys got it set up. And that's another thing about separating the professionalism and different things. We got to make this look good, not only sound good. So I appreciate you guys for having me and how you guys set up your business and how y'all doing this. It's very professional. So not ghetto in that sense. Ghetto as in meaning we make it work. We improvise. We
Exactly.
know how to go through different channels to get the job done. People, misunderstand what we say when we use certain terms at certain times.
No, absolutely. What's your favorite quote? What's your favorite quote? From anybody. Ain't gotta, it just could be from,
Yeah, I'm trying
yeah.
to think right now. Man, it's so many that I've had over the years or I've encountered.
I could share mine.
Please do.
Okay.
Please do. Please
Well,
do.
one of them is be therefore wise as a serpent, yet harmless as a dove. I love that quote because
Say it one more time for me.
be ye therefore wise as a serpent and yet harmless as a dove.
Mm.
Yeah, because I think that quote right there just shows like if you have mental superiority, you could pretty much don't have to result in violence or anything else like that if you're wise and you know how to implement wisdom.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can get what you want. You can
Mhm.
maintain your integrity. You can maintain your character and everything else. Like, I like that. And then
I
let me
like that
see.
too.
Life isn't about, I think it's something like the path you choose is about creating a path and leaving a trail. I like that because I like trailblazers and I like people that
Right.
don't follow the stereotypical mold. I like people that break the mold. So those are two of my favorite quotes. Feel me?
I like one that I got on me. Lord protect me from my friends. I can handle my enemies.
Ooh.
I just think that coming from where we come from sometimes, especially in the city, you know what I mean? It's just like a lot of times, like before the generation before us, they had to worry about people from across town, people from other neighborhoods. That was the dynamics of the turmoil, whatever, or the survival factors as far as like, you know, with other men and other interactions. But my generation, there was a lot of civil war going on.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah.
you know what I mean? There's a lot of people that was having internal, you know, turmoil, and that's what kind of destroyed the neighborhoods too. Which, you know how that go, but I think that's just like, you know, it's hard for a person that's like a hater or a real enemy to get close to you to do something bad to you. You know what I mean? So a lot of times it's gonna be somebody close to you. So I think that's the survival quote.
I feel really close to both of you right now. I want to share one of my favorite quotes.
There you go. There you go. Come on in here.
In my life, my mother. My favorite quote is, "Honey, dinner's ready." And I mean, it just makes me feel warm every time I hear it.
That's a good thing. I like hearing that.
Right?
Who don't like hearing that? I like that. You feel me?
And then my follow-up is, "Stovetop?" No, I'm just kidding.
No. I eat some stovetop on the underdog. I have another thing. I feel like there's often times where people think, you know what I'm saying, they got you figured out, especially with this internet shit. I know I keep a motherfucker guessing. They be like, that bitch out of her mind. Or they be like, damn, she's smart, she's intelligent. Like we have so many different facets to us as humans. What do you think is something that people misunderstand about you?
I think, you know, people can mistake, let the smooth taste fool you sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, you know, I'm always pushing positive, you know what I mean? And I'm always trying to be as humble as possible and all those different things. You know, sometimes people could take that the wrong way, I think, and not really understand the dynamics of, you know, where you come from, where you're trying to, you know, evolve to, different things like that. So, you know what I mean? I guess that could be part of it, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, I just try to speak from my heart. So I try to stay within my realm, you know what I mean? I don't try to get too far. Every once in a while, I might get into what is in the world, you know what I mean? Because we all are influenced by what's going on in our surroundings. But for the most part, I try to stay in my lane, you know what I mean? I ain't going to be getting too caught up in what the masses is talking about too much, you know what I mean? Everybody get influenced a little bit, but for the most part, I just try to keep a level head about things and be empathetic with people. A lot of times people speak from a judging perspective and not taking into consideration what you judging this person for today. You was just doing the same thing last week to somebody else. But, you know what I mean? It's hard to see it in ourselves. So, you know what I mean? I just try to remind myself of that a lot, you know?
I want to play another one of your videos.
Okay.
I really think those are very impactful, and like I said, I know it resonates. I'm not surprised that it went viral. Every time I see him, I always give my undivided attention, and I really like the history of San Francisco. It makes me feel warm in my heart because I feel like, you know, you got New York, you know what I'm saying, you know, you got the town, you got LA, and they really rep where they from. So when my people in the city, when they be doing things, like, I wouldn't say I'm a fanatic. I'm not a fan of anything, but I'm definitely an appreciator and an observer. And you know what I'm saying? Like, I hella appreciate you and people that's, you know what I'm saying, from the city that's doing dope shit. So here we go with your next video.
Back in the days, man, you understand me, trying to, you know what I mean, relive your childhood, you understand me? Your partners from high school and from the turf and from the hood, you dig what I'm saying? Your heart is in the right place, you know what I mean? You're trying to do something positive, you know what I mean? So many of y'all partners is gone from back in the days that when you see them, it creates a nostalgic moment and you want to relive them times as much as possible, right? but that's not the same human being that you knew 20 years ago. That ain't the same person that you grew up with. You know what I mean? The trials and tribulations of life has turned that person into a whole different individual. You know what I'm talking about? Not to mention the mental capacity that they have left. You know what I mean? All the things that they went through, you did, it has totally turned them into somebody that you don't know no more. And you steady trying to bring back the shit from old days, mess around and let somebody sleep on the couch, or let somebody use your car. You dig what I'm saying? And you'll be made one of the biggest mistakes you could have made in your life. You know what I'm talking about? Trying to figure out how the hell you get this person up out of here. How the hell you end up in a knife fight in your own house with somebody you grew up with, because people ain't the same as they used to be, bro. You know what I mean? You remember that old kid, you understand me, whose mother and father was still alive, who had never been to the penitentiary, you understand me, who was about getting a few dollars. Man, life has took them through the ringer, big baby, and they are no longer the individuals that you once used to know. And bringing them back, bringing them up forward, you understand me, to the current times, it could be dangerous, big baby, and something that you'll regret forever. KI. They be dragging the homies from back in the days, man. You understand me, trying to...
That was some game right there, boy. I done went through some shit like that.
Man, you feel me? You
I
feel
done
me?
went through some
I'm
shit
trying to
like
tell
that.
you. And I mean, that's why I just try to talk like I be talking to my partners or whatever. You know what I mean? So like I said, people can receive it. I don't try, to be serious, but sometimes I just try to make it lightly, because you know how we chop game. But anybody, like you said, anybody who has experienced it, they know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? And we at that age where, you're trying to establish yourself, but still hold on to your history in a positive manner. And sometimes that involves trying to bring the wrong people with you from the wrong era and the wrong time, not knowing that part of your life is already over. You know what I mean?
No, that is really, and I'm glad that you putting out that type of content, because that could save somebody's life for real. I know when I watched that video, I shared that video. I said, shit, I sent the video to Paul. I said, everybody need to hear this shit, because that's some real, I ran into one of my folks. I hadn't seen that nigga in hella long. And in my head, my brain ain't looking at him or judging him the way I should have, and it's made me, and it wasn't a traumatic experience, but I had to get on that nigga line, like, my nigga, like, it ain't good, like, you feel me, like, I'm sitting up here trying to welcome you into my world, but, like, we still 13, nigga, like, it ain't good, like, nigga, you gotta bounce, my nigga. Well, I need to call the police on you, my nigga. Like, it ain't got that deep to where, when I seen that video, I said, ooh, he ain't lying. So, that was some, like, very essential, and you're a father. So how does this translate to your children? Like, do they listen to you record, or do they ever be, there? I seen your daughter. She just won an award. Congratulations to her. And you know what?
Thank you.
When there's no better award than to have a character award. I don't think people understand the strength, and for your kid to win the character award, that's a testament that, not the game you just, giving the world, and that you're sharing with the world, but it being implemented, into your personal life. Because this definitely has to be some implementation in order to get that. I don't think there's a better award, honestly, because for someone to have a good character, that says a lot about their upbringing, the moral, within the household. You could tell that. I just want to say I appreciate, because that just shows that, you're not just talking. You know what I'm saying? That was dope.
Thank you.
And we got one more video for you, because I definitely want to, we going to keep this, you feel me? We got to keep this going.
I appreciate you, big baby. I appreciate you so much.
I love that. I think, is this the Wednesday? I don't know.
He chose you, champ. He chose you to stay here and tell a story, you understand me, about the glory, big baby. He chose you. And you ain't here for a season. You here for a reason. You dig what I'm saying? But who better that can tell the story of so many young souls and lives that was lost before their time, that didn't get to shine fully, you dig? That didn't get to experience what this life is really about. Longevity. You dig what I'm saying? being here for a long time and experiencing all the blessings that are incumbent in good health and good wealth, not just the monetary kind. Do you hear what I'm saying, big baby? Who else was he gonna keep here to tell the story? A first-hand account. Somebody who stood side by side with the soldiers on front line. Do you hear what I'm saying, big baby? We gotta be here, man, to make sure they didn't die in vain. We gotta tell a story, champ. You understand me? But it gotta be a first-hand account. It gotta be people who was really there, big baby. You dig what I'm saying? So he left a few generals, a few soldiers, man, a few good captains. You dig, lieutenants, man. You understand me? To tell about the struggle and why it ain't worth it. To tell about coming through the turmoil and the trials and tribulations of the struggle and making it to something better, big baby. He left certain ones to tell the story, man. But we got to be here and we got to tell it the right way. We can't embellish, you understand me? And we for sure can't celebrate the wrong parts of it, big baby. He chose you, champ. He chose you to stay here.
He chose you, champ.
You know,
Hey, so what inspired that? Cause you feel me?
sometimes sometimes the videos might be inspired by interaction or conversation with a friend or family. And sometimes I might have to have a pep talk with myself for the day. You know what I mean? Sometimes I might need to give myself a pick me up, and
For real.
as I'm, you know what I mean? Just like somebody else need to hear this too. You know what I mean? This message ain't just for you. You know what I mean? And
Wait, so sometimes you're big baby?
for sure, sometimes I'm talking to myself.
You
I'm
keep it
big
real.
baby.
I
I'm
like it.
champ.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. You know what I mean? Like, for sure I am sometimes. A lot of the messages, a lot of them, I'm bringing myself out of a place sometimes. Not to say that exact one was that, but you know what I mean? Sometimes, you know, you need to remind yourself that you're doing the right thing. Sometimes you're not going to have people around you that can identify with the mission, that can identify with the effort, that can identify with the dream. So in those times, sometimes you got to tell yourself, like, man, you know, you're worthy. You know what I mean? You're an author. You're a writer. You know what I mean? You're a creative. You're a ghetto poet. You know what I mean? You're an engineer. You know what I mean? You are all these things, and you are more than capable of doing anything else somebody else is doing. You know, sometimes we resort on those voices from outside. Sometimes we got to, you know what I mean? And just, you know, for whatever reason, we have Instagram and stuff, so now those thoughts come to me, I can share them with somebody else that I'm using to pick myself up, or maybe one of my partners, and a multitude of people can hear them and receive that message. I get a lot of messages and people like, man, it feel like you was talking to me. And that's why, you know, they call me the voice, I guess, because I am talking to them, because I'm talking to myself, but I'm talking to the spirit that needs to be touched in that moment to, you know, remind them of whatever it is that I'm feeling. So, you know what I mean? That was becoming a personal place for real.
Oh, that was profound. Thank you for sharing that. No, for sure, because I think the people need to hear that. That was dope. That was on Big Baby. Where did this Big Baby come from?
Okay, listen. So I want to say, so me and my partners is all characters, you know what I mean? But my family too, you know what I mean? But to make a long story short, I took some of my partners to summer vacation with me. So we went to my grandparents' house in Texas. They had never been out of the city, you know what I mean, like that before. So we hopped on the plane, flew to Nashville, Tennessee, drove to Texas. But when we got to Texas, all my little cousins in East Texas called my big cousin Big Baby, and that was just the slang that summer. So that they used that slang already, but that summer it was just everybody was Big Baby, Big Baby, Big Baby. So my friends from Cali, my partners from Frisco, my brothers from, you know what I mean, they loved it. All my little cousins and my family in East Texas, and how they talked, you know what I mean, from the country where they talked to the slang they was using. So that summer, it was Big Baby, Big Baby, Big Baby. And we brought that back to the city with us. So then, you know, we just started using it in Lakeview, and when we put up on people, hey, Big Baby, and just a term of endearment, and it just turned into how I use it in my slang, and then put it on clothes, and it just took on a life of its own from there.
I like Big Baby.
Yeah, thank you so much.
It's a good alternative to nigga too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
you know,
it's a really good alternative. That's
and people are like, you know what? It's so crazy, like with social media and stuff. You know, I don't live directly in the city no more, so Sometimes I don't realize how much a following I have on social media because I don't be tripping. I just do these videos out of love, for my folks and stuff, and use it for my books and stuff too. But I really don't be tripping. So people would think like when I come home, or I'm in the window at my grandmama's house, or I'm rolling down the street, or I'm somewhere getting something to eat in the city, people yell out the window, "Hey, big baby!" I'm looking like, oh man, catching me off guard like crazy because when I'm in the city, my mind be working differently, so I kind of be like, you know what I mean? So I'll just be like, man, this is crazy. Yeah, people look that it's real catchy. People love Big Baby.
Yeah, I love Big Baby. That's why maybe somebody got at me recently about using the N word too much. Maybe I'll try some replacement. I feel like it's not like like my dude, he from the South, and I hate when he called people baby. So I think Big Baby takes the I think it takes that because I never want people to misinterpret that I'm flirting with him. You feel me? And
Right,
I feel like Big Baby is the
you.
perfect alternative to nigga. Like it's all
Right,
good,
there
Big
you go.
Baby. Oh yeah, you being a
Big
baby.
Baby, Big
I like
Dog.
that.
It's like this is an uptake from Big Homie, Big Dog, Big Brother type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, but it's a term of endearment that we kind of brought back and coined it. And, I've learned that some of the things that are popular with you and the people you love is going to be popular to other people too. So that's another thing. Don't keep sleeping on whatever ideas you have. If you have an idea, if you can bring it to fruition, I suggest you do it. You know what I mean? I've been learning that the last few years with my creativity, you know what I mean? From the books to the clothing line, you just gotta, the business part, you gotta get that down pat too though, but creatively, you gotta share your stuff with the world. Let them decide if it's good or not.
I got one more question for you. So what has been
Yes,
one of the
ma'am.
most, I guess for lack of better terms, like underrated tools that you have gained from growing up in the city, and that you've applied to your life?
You know what? Being able to have a conversation with people from multiple walks of life.
Mm.
Like I pride myself in being able to have a conversation just about anybody, and I like to think that comes from growing up in the city, having Filipino friends, having Mexican friends, and sitting at the table as a kid with my Mexican friend and his mother and his dad that didn't speak any English barely, but loving me and cooking me fresh tortillas from scratch at one of my Filipino friends' house and having lumpias and just having a plethora of different engagements with different people from different walks of life. Of course, we don't talk hood, and we know how that's just because the game that's in San Francisco as far as the streets and all of that, you're going to have a mouthpiece. If you're from the streets of San Francisco and you've been paying attention, you should be able to talk. You know what I mean? You should be able to communicate.
Absolutely.
But the multitude of different people that you could communicate with. Because growing up in San Francisco, you might have a millionaire best friend, you might have a friend in the projects, you might have a friend, you know what I mean, that live in the Haight-Ashbury who parents is just free and let them do whatever, smoking in the house as kids. It just might be all type of different stuff. So I think that being from my city prepared me for damn near any environment. Like I'd have been all over the world to hoods and projects and, you know what I mean, and just knowing how to wiggle and being able to communicate and find like-minded people anywhere I go in the world. So I for sure want to say Frisco gave me that for sure.
No, absolutely. I feel like if you didn't get no game from the city, like you was sleeping. I don't see how you couldn't. I've had people where they be like, "You trying to game me?" and I'm like, "I'm not gaming you." But
Right, exactly.
it'd be like, "I'm
you.
not gaming you." But so when do you shoot your like? If the people out there want to watch your podcast and prescribe to your, I'm talking about prescribe. They need need to be a prescription. You feel
there you
me?
go. There you go.
350 milligrams. Yeah.
Paul, you've been on
They
a
can
roll.
Oh, yes, I have. And he had me at lumpia. He said lumpia.
I know, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul,
So,
what you know about that lumpia, Paul?
Oh, I'm a fat man. I know a lot about that lumpia.
Come on, man. Talk to me then, champ. That's real. See, that's real Bay Area, real Frisco culture, multicultural city. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. It's a melting pot, long as there's lumpia in that pot. There we
Yeah,
go.
Come on,
I
man.
make
Just put it
lumpia.
right there.
Straight up. So how would people keep in contact with you? As far as like when
So
do you
y'all
shoot your podcast? When do you do your podcast?
So since the new year started, we haven't shot any episodes, but usually I do them on a Sunday, Sunday evening usually. If depending on who I'm interviewing, if they need time during the week, it's kind of freestyle out of kids and stuff. But you can go on YouTube and type in KIU Conversations, all the KIU podcasts that pop up. You can go and check out any of those. You type in "You Wasn't There, Big Baby" in YouTube, and I have some of the throwback stories from the city in the Bay Area, festival at the lake, concerts in Lakeview, concerts in Hunters Point. You know what I mean? Family from Fillmore, all type of different stuff. Like I said, I was privy to be all around the city, all around the Bay Area, really, but all around the city in almost every single neighborhood. You know what I mean? Somehow or another. I have friends from all over the place. So, but yeah, just look me up on YouTube. You Wasn't There, Big Baby, for the throwback stories, KIU Conversations. And they can follow me on Instagram at 415 Voice. You know what I mean? And hit me up. I should have new merch for the clothing line coming soon. The books, Away with Words, are both on Amazon.com. I would love to support there. This is some motivational quotes to keep you focused, to keep you on track. Tune into the Ghetto Poet podcast, you know what I'm saying? And, we're just going to keep on grinding, supporting each other, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Shout out to Paul, shout out to Bella, you know what I mean? We just really pushing the culture forward, you know what I mean? This is going to be the first interview of many with us sitting down, chopping game,
absolutely,
and trying to push this thing forward. And I appreciate you guys so much for having me. It's been nothing but an honor and a pleasure,
Thank you. And I actually have, I have a question about the book. I want to bring, what was it going to bring it up, Paul, on, I think it's, you said it's on Amazon. Yes, I want to bring up the book. So make sure you go out there and support The Voice, you feel me? KIU with his book, Big Baby, Away with Words. You feel me? I love it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I really do. It's really a pleasure, you know what I'm saying? Like, to share this type of space and author to author and Frisco native to Frisco native. It's always a pleasure for me. Like, that's what this Ghetto Poet is about. That's why I take my time to do this, because we are historians for show, and I want to keep supporting and keep doing what you're doing. And when you drop that new book, you're going to have to come on the show. Have you done any book signings?
I have not did any book signings yet. You know what I mean? I just do a lot since I'm, like I said, my heart and everything is in San Francisco, but I don't live in the city. So a lot of the stuff that I do is online, and a lot of the stuff that I do is remote. But, you know what I mean? This next book that we're working on, everything is going to have to pop up in the city first just to make it as big as it needs to be. So,
right, you're going to have to come up in the studio, you know what I'm saying, for sure. And,
yeah.
And we got to, and I know a lot of places and stuff like that you could, and multiple authors and stuff like that, and to where you could host, you know what I'm saying, like throw some events and get it popping.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so congratulations. And thank you to all the listeners out there. You know what I'm saying? Go online, follow my boy. You know what I'm saying? Go up on that YouTube, click that subscribe, and you definitely going to be inspired. And thank you to all the listeners and everybody out there in internet land. This is your Ghetto Poet and KIU The Voice. Peace.
Thank y'all.